We moved there when I was 3 years old, in 27. And I remember coming from out there, what I'm calling downtown for the 27th flood. I don't know whether you know, whether you're a native Arkansan. Everybody relates to the 27th flood. It's supposed to be the most devastating flood we had in the history of the state. We went down to see the flood. It looked like to me it was as big as an ocean. The little ravine that ran through town where the water had backed up from the river. I didn't get down to the river. For years and years I was always saying that was a river, but it was just a ravine. It runs through, it's called Hardin Drain. It runs through Pine Bluff now, but they recaptured all of that because back in the 27th flood, it inundated that thing and it cut a swath in there about 2 blocks wide. And that was a very unsightly thing right down the heart of Pine Bluff because it ran through from about 8th to about 10th Street. And they recaptured that and covered it up. And that's where the Pine Bluff Convention Center is now. It's where all the city offices are located.
America was built from her sand, and black bodies, and brown bodies, and yellow bodies, and red bodies. She carried her fleshy mortar on Yemeya's tears. I stood before her, let her crash into me. Wash me, her daughter, with her saltiness. My hips began to rock, pulling in the tide with my womanliness, releasing all of the souls that layered upon the ocean floor, buried without a name, no marker on their grave. I wept for them, took breath for them, stood like a stone, waved like the wind. I was their flag at half-staff, a cool reminder on a hot day. I am the hope and the dream of the slave.
I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave.
I really don't know. I don't know. I remember as a little 6-year-old kid standing out there with my parents, seeing a house go up in flames. So the banks closed in 1930. We lost our home and it burned to the ground in 1930. My dad and mother separated in 1930. So 1930 was an awful year for me.
This song for you, so I can remember how you make me feel. You give me fever, you give me chills. In love with the way I hate you. These chains, I can't break you, so I make us pretty in my song. Remember the first time you kissed me, erase the first time you did me wrong. Remember the first time we made love, erase the first time you didn't show up. That's what fools do, love anyway, and I love you. I wrote this song for you. You adhere to my cells. I mutate into your hell. I love to swelter. You give me passion. You give me heartache. In love with the way I hate you. These chains, I can't break you. So I make us pretty in a poem. Roses are blood. Violence is blue. You assaulted my soul, but still, I'm your fool. I love you. I wrote this song for you.
My mother was running a dry cleaners. They had the only black dry cleaners in town. And she ran the dry cleaners off and on until I finished high school. So I guess 18, 20 years. And was considered one of the premier dry cleaners in town. She was considered to be the best dress finisher. Materials have changed down through the years. You didn't have any synthetics back there.
Right, it was all cotton or wool or silk.
Cotton or wool or silk. And for a woman's fine dress, ordinarily would be made out of silk. And if it was really expensive dress, it would have a lot of pleats in it. And all of this had to be done by hand. So to be able to lay those pleats and do them, not get them twisted, that was an art. And they call that dress finishing in the dry cleaning business. And she was one of the best dress finishers Pine Bluff has ever produced.
He thought I was magic, that big brown eyes and big yellow thighs could do anything, that his legs between my knees made him king, and the arch in my back made me queen. All hail to the queen. She smells like Egypt in wet clay. She looks like yams baked in midday, all orange and golden and delicious. And her tongue was vicious, taking down heads like a cyclone in her bed, and he was mesmerized. He thought I was magic. He thought he could have it. He was right how I like, and that boy, he can get it all night. He thought I was magic. He thought he could have it. He was right how I like, and that boy, he could get it all night. He thought I was magic, that curly hair and lace underwear could do anything, that his mouth on my black pyramid made him king, and my ankles on his ears made me queen. All hail to the queen. Her magic tastes like cabbage and turnip bottom stewing in a pot, cornbread and an ice cold soda pop on a steamy summer's day, wasting the day away under the ruffled sheets, hip-hop beats and poetry, gazing into each other's hearts because he thought I was magic. He thought he could have it. He was right how I like, and that boy, he can get it all night. He thought I was magic. He thought he could have it. He was right how I like, and that boy, he could get it all night. He thought I was magic, that big lips and wide hips could do anything, that his kisses on my neck made him king, and the moans in my throat made me queen. All hail to the queen. She smells like the merchant of dreams and long days. She looks like black power in a raspberry beret, all royal and such. And her truth was the realest, that was the spell. Good things are real, and her magic was not for sale. It was a gift, and he earned it. Over sage prayers she burned it, and made magic with him every night. He thought I was magic, and he thought right. He was right how I like, and that boy, he can get it all night. He thought I was magic. He thought he could have it. He was right how I like, and that boy, he can get it all night.
As I said, I was born in Pine Bluff. There was something unique about my birth. My mother had difficulty in delivering, and she, quote, wanted her babies, end of quote, as I guess most mothers do. And it's my information that she'd had 2 or 3 stillbirths, and during this particular time, she had what was supposedly the best doctor in town, a doctor by the name of Dr. Harry Williams. And he, incidentally, was chief of staff at Davis Hospital. Davis Hospital was the white hospital in town. My understanding, he went to the hospital and told them to prepare for surgery. He had a cesarean to deliver, and of course, everybody prepared. And when he rolled my mother in, everybody was aghast about what's going on here. He said, well, that's my patient. I've got to do a cesarean, and I can't do it on a butcher block, and I want everybody to get in high gear. And supposedly they did. And the way the story goes, I was the first black to be born at the Davis Hospital. That was in 1924. That was a repeat performance in 1926. I had a brother that also had to have the same thing. Of course, that was the last of the children. The doctor told my mother there's too much strain on her, so no more children. But she had those 2.
I hate it when people act like they ain't never seen nobody with ass before. I mean, it's an ass. Act accordingly. That right. Big bottom girl, they said hide your backside. They said lose your weight when all you heard was lose your worth. Either they covered you or cover you. Sexualize your wide, round, supple flesh. Make melons of your breasts and dinner of your thighs. They'll tell you to choose modesty or being a slut. There's no in between. They'll shame you, big bottom girl, for a shape your maker molded in the image of her mama, her mama's mama, they mama in them. God goddess doesn't make mistakes. She can make the earth quake with the clap of your ass. She can make the lightning strike with the look in your eyes. Big bottom girl, be not ashamed of your frame. Ignore what they say and make way for your hips. They are full and magnificent. Every curve on your body is radical. The Old and New Testament that there is a goddess that doesn't make modest of her creation. She doesn't make limitation of the miseducation of what is sought for pleasure. She makes babies from indigo soup. She makes rubies from her mincees. She makes diamonds from the coal she sneezes on her stoop. Big bottom girl, that's you. Designed to create your own pleasure. Destined to break boxes with your curves. Move mountains with your swerve. Make men's tails wag with your swag. Make them beg for even an ounce of your intelligence. Give them nothing. Do not reward the ignorance of anyone who would make you choose them over you. Show them that backside, and they demand that you hide. And let them watch your big bottom girl walk away and sway from side to side. That's right. Ass. She got 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 She got ass. She got ass. She got
My attitude was that I was not afraid of anything that walks me up and flies. But you had to exercise patience because, Gad, I was, 30-some-year-old man. And I thought I had had some muscle, and I thought I could whomp. Those little kids were doing this sort of thing. Once or twice, I let my emotions get the best of them, and I did snap back at them, when they were spitting on my car or throwing debris on the car. But then I realized that
I was taught to apologize, to feel sorry for myself because no one else cared. America taught me that my black was not beautiful. My hue was to be shot and forgotten. No one would apologize for chaining me or hanging me or for my fingers that would bleed on cotton seeds. I had to be sorry for their wrongs. That apology lived in my grandmother's womb. She survived on politeness and correctness. Black was to be submissive. I'm sorry for her. Cotton picking, child rearing hands. She always worked too hard. Her days were too long so that her children would have less complicated lives. I'm sorry for my mother, her sadness, her anger, her hell. She's always fighting herself. She's always fighting me, making heavy out of this light-skinned girl, making light out of the world that sits heavy on my shoulders. I carry their burdens, turned into tumors in my womb, and my womb turned into a tomb. My babies are dead, I'm sorry for them. That my body was not ideal. I carried them still, buried and born anew. Into this hiding woman, I shrink myself, make meek of my presence. I don't want to be in the way. I apologize for being. I'm lost, and ain't nobody looking for lost black girls. The world taught me that. No search and rescue for melanated disappearances. They let us remain lost, and we pay the cost for the world's sins. No slave trade, just stolen. No fair trade, still enslaved. No conversations between mothers and daughters, only apologies. And I don't want to be sorry anymore. It's haunting. I'm an eerie paradox of power. In between a gentle breeze and a raging storm, I crash into myself on the waters, erode the sandy graves of my foremothers and forefathers, bury and unearth myself time and time again. I'm sorry for not being present. Too many traumas in my skin, too many worries of what if. I learned that about myself. And why should I worry when I have faith? But having faith and keeping faith are two different things. I'm sorry for not keeping as much as I have. I'm drowning in apologies and I don't want to be sorry for who I am. Hot and cold, a perfect storm, in and out. Slick be my mouth and closed be my house. However, my heart is open. She remembers, but she forgives. I'm still apologizing this time to myself for pushing to be perfect in an imperfect world. These burdens bloodied by time have got to find some other place than my back. America has got to find her own back instead of the backs of blacks. My mother shouldn't work so hard and I shouldn't be so hard on myself. I'm learning to unlearn what has been taught to me. Too many folks fought for me not to stand on my own 2 feet and be free. I thought I was free, but freedom lives free from apology. I was taught to apologize, but I'm learning to just be.
My head is bloody but unbowed, so you keep going. People say Henley's Invictus is sacrilegious. You know, thank whatever God may be, as if there's a doubt about there is a God. But that part about my head is bloody but unbowed is symbolic of what you have to do many times to survive these kind of things.